What's up, guys? Thunder's Truth here, and I know I've said quite a few times to a couple of different people that I would be making this video by Sunday, and here it is. As you guys know, I did get the Golden Zilyana's Bane title, and maybe I'm going to upload a separate reaction video because this video is going to be more focused on guiding you towards actually getting this title. Now, of course, one of the biggest things to understand about this title is that it is mostly based off of how long you are able to force yourself to go to Zilyana, and also, of course, how long you are actually able to go to Zilyana based off of your real life schedule and whatnot. I'd say if you can't spend more than 10 to 15 hours a day on it, don't try. I know that's quite discouraging, and it kind of should be. I mean, you shouldn't be trying for this title unless you have absolutely no life for the week that you're trying for it. It's kind of depressing actually, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. If you want the title, that's what you kind of need. I'm going to show you guys the most efficient way that I have found at killing Zilyana, which has yielded me close to or actually 70 kills an hour. So it's pretty good. Most people are only getting, I think, like 60 an hour or so, especially if you're using a yak. So this is going to hopefully give you guys some huge improvements. Some things I didn't test while I was actually doing Zilyana was dread nips. I didn't test dread nips, and there was a couple of other things I didn't test. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. I didn't try poisoning my weapon. Oh man, there's a couple of more that I'm not able to think of off the top of my head, and if I do think of them, I'll include a little annotation that says, you know, you can try this or this. I'm going to show you the method that I actually used, and then I'll try to maybe, you know, throw some dread nips down and see what those are able to do. I actually did think of dread nips on the last day of the competition, but I didn't want to change things up when I was already doing so well, and it was such a big race that I didn't want to take any chances, so that's why I didn't learn how to use the dread nips. Anyway, for your gear, this is what you are going to want. You're going to want full Malevolent with Razorback Gauntlets. You're going to want Torva Boots. I actually had Torva Boots, but I sold them after the competition, and I just didn't want to buy them back for this video. But yeah, you're going to want to have Torva Boots. Absolute maximum DPS. Ring of Death, I highly recommend. Okay, I highly recommend Ring of Death. Don't use your Ring of Wealth. You don't want to be, if you're going for this title, you're not in it for the drops, you're in it for the title. So you just basically want to go all in on everything, in my opinion. I mean, you don't have to do this, but for me, especially the Ring of Death, the Ring of Death is extremely helpful in terms of its performance. As for the Amulet of Souls, I found it a little bit less impressive. You could probably get away with the Dungeoneering necklace just fine. So there's that. You do need, like, I repeat, you need this. You can't skip this, okay? You need a Scrimshaw of Vampyrism. You cannot use the Scrimshaw of Attack. You cannot use a Sign of Life. You need a Scrimshaw of Vampyrism. Alright, let me just make that very clear, okay? Because it is the key source of your healing. If you do not have this, you will not survive, okay? Next up is your aura. There are two auras that I recommend, and for both of them, I recommend you use Viswax to extend them so that you can hopefully rotate between the both of them each trip. And one of those is Vampirism, which is actually not the best one. The best one is, let's see here, right here, Supreme Invigorate. That is your best aura by far in terms of DPS. So if you have that aura, slap that thing on and you will be good to go. Now, if you don't have Supreme Invigorate, you can alternate between Vampirism and Penance, which you should have anyway. Like, those auras should be something everybody has, so make sure you have those if you don't. And Supreme Invigorate is the best aura, period. Now, as you can see, I had a lot of setups for Zilyana. I think this is the one, yeah, this is the one that I stuck with pretty much all the time. Alright, so this is a 3-hour trip using Blood Nihils. You do need to summon the Blood Nihil. one of them, and then you want to have two backup ones. Now, the reason why you want two backups is because although two will last you 3 hours, the third one is just in case it glitches away. Sometimes the blood nihil, for whatever reason, just glitches itself away. Alright, everything else here is pretty standard. There's the 3 hours of overloads, 3 hours of prayer renewals, 9 super restore flask. I do recommend restore flask over prayer flask because the extra prayer does kind of matter. Ring of Vigor, this is for when you berserk, and it is actually worth bringing, okay? A lot of people may think, you know, that's such a minimal difference. Well, it actually can be like a 2-second difference on every other kill, which when you're doing like 6,000 kills, that's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? Yeah, that would be 100 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes saved over 6,000 kills. So, I mean, that's a big deal. All right. The Portent of Death is just if you have 99 divination, and it gives you access to that safeguard if you lag out, or if you just mess something up, you know, it'll bring you back. But it is only for those who have 99 divination, so that's basically it. You know, you don't need to bring this. This is not a necessity. But for me, I was disconnecting a lot. My internet's pretty shoddy, and this saved my life plenty of times. If you have a fine internet and you are actually paying attention, you don't need this anyway. But, you know, bring it as a safeguard if you have access to it. If you do not have this, maybe you can try Dreadnips in this spot, which is something that I didn't get the chance to try. I bring 1 Saradomin Brew. This is not skippable. You need something to heal you in case you screw up in the beginning of the trip. Alright? And this is your teleport to the God Wars. If you don't have the God Wars teleport, you can just bring a tab and bring something else in the slot that's open. Although I don't recommend bringing something else because these 2 slots are going to be used to pick up drops. Now here are 2 items that you can bring in substitute of 2 restore flask, but at the risk of running out of prayer or running out of food. You can bring magic notepaper for one of them, and then the other thing is the Dreadnips, like I was saying. So I'm going to bring those 2, just to try them out. I will start off not using the Dreadnips, just so that I can show you guys the way I did it, literally. And then I will actually try the Dreadnips, and I can try to give you some analysis as to whether they're better or not. Of course, the analysis is not going to be 100% accurate because I'm not going there for a full hour, alright, for this video. So, again, you know, it's one of those things. Anyway, I'm going to go to the God Wars dungeon. Alright, so I have the kill count now, and real quick, just so that you guys understand why some of my supplies are missing, it's because I tried to record this section of the video already, and unfortunately it just went on way too long, so now I'm just going to run through it real quick. There are 3 different types of kills. There's your starting kill, there are berserk kills, and then there are non-berserk kills. Your starting kill is when you start off with 0% adrenaline. It's the first kill of each trip. You can actually skip this kill if you stall adrenaline from your kill count and then start an instance instantly, but not everybody likes to do that. Sometimes you got to use your adrenaline to heal up to full. Sometimes you have something else to do before you go into the boss room. Most of the time, I didn't even do it. I didn't even stall kill count from... I didn't stall my adrenaline from the kill count. So your starting kill, there's nothing important for you to memorize, alright? Just improvise your first kill, use your ability rotation, whatever you feel comfortable with, and just get the kill over with. For me, I just maximize my 188% damage abilities, so that's Decimate, Sever, and Dismember. And I just focus on using those as basics, use my Assault, Destroy, and Slaughter thresholds, and that works out for me pretty well. Alright, but it doesn't really matter because it's only once per trip, so saving any time out of it is really not that big a deal. What is a big deal is saving time or doing the best you can on your berserk and your non-berserk kills, which are going to be every single other kill of the trip, alright? So let's start off with your Berserk kills. Alright, so starting off the Berserk kills, you want to equip the Ring of Vigor, and it really does make a difference, but you don't need it. It really does make a pretty big difference, like 2 seconds a lot of times that it can save, because you only need to use 5 basics once you have the Ring of Vigor on in order to get to your first threshold, assuming you're not using the aura Greater Invigorate or Supreme Invigorate. Alright, so your ability rotation after you Berserk is going to be Decimate, Sever, Slice, Havoc, Decimate, Assault. Alright, sorry, I almost forgot one there, but yeah, you definitely want to get that Decimate off a second time before you use Assault. Alright, and there's going to be a slight delay before that second one comes up, before that Decimate comes up, and don't worry about it. Alright, just wait that fraction of a second. Most of the time you won't even notice it, but if you do notice it, it's normal, it's expected, you're doing everything correctly. Just it's not a loss of DPS to wait that fraction of a second. Alright, it's best to be using that 188% damage ability with Berserk. Alright, a couple of other things that you're going to want to do while you're doing these rotations. You don't have to do these things, and it's not even possible for you to do them if you don't use the keyboard. But what I like to do while I'm berserking and using these abilities, I will equip my Ring of Death after I've already gotten the use out of the Vigor after berserking, and then I like to get the Blood Nihil onto Commander Zilyana. Alright, those are the two main things that I do. And then the third thing that you can do is deploy a Dreadnought, which is something I didn't do this back when I was actually trying to get the title, but I tested them out just now and they're pretty good. So they're definitely worth deploying, they're definitely worth bringing, so if you have them, bring them. Sorry for that voice crack. Alright, let's do the non-Berserk kill. Start off with Destroy, then you're going to use Decimate after that 4th hit, then you're going to use Assault, and this is an important thing to understand about Assault, is after you see the 3rd hit of Assault, you can use Sever without losing out on that 4th hit. Alright, that's the important thing. Alright, so there's 4 hits that Assault gives. If you use a basic ability or even a threshold, but I use a basic, after that 3rd hit, you're still going to get the 4th hit. Alright, so 3rd hit of Assault, use Sever, then you're going to use Slaughter. Make sure she moves after you use Slaughter, so move a step or something so that you get that ×3 damage. Alright, then you're going to use Blood Tendrils, Dismember, Decimate, Havoc, Destroy. Okay? That's going to be your ability rotation. Most of the time the kill ends with Destroy. If it doesn't, then you can use any number of basic abilities until she dies. One important thing to note is sometimes if you messed up on the minions, you won't have enough adrenaline to go from Slaughter into Blood Tendrils right away. Just use some basics until you're able to use Blood Tendrils and then just improvise the rest of the kill. Alright, but once you get enough practice, that shouldn't happen very often. Alright, so let's go in there and I'll show you some kills. We're going to obviously have the starting kill first, and then we will move from there. And I'm going to put my pin in, and then I'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and then we're going to go ahead and enter real quick. We're going to go ahead and go to that altar, use it right away. Overload. Turn on our quick prayers. And then this is the starting kill. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what you do. Deploy Dreadnips. You can really do whatever you want. Make sure you move out of the Dreadnips' way so that it's actually able to get to Commander Zilyana. The really important thing is to just make sure that you get your Scrimshaw on, because if you don't, you're probably going to struggle in terms of healing. But with the Scrimshaw, it's a little bit easier to heal. A lot easier, actually. And so yeah, this kill, as you can see, is pretty straightforward. There's nothing special you can really do to speed it up. That was a pretty slow one. Sometimes I can get sub 30 still on that first kill, but typically you don't get that fast of a first kill. And so since we're doing okay on health, and by the way, you're allowed to eat and not lose adrenaline even if you're in combat. provided that you don't have a target. So we're going to do our Berserk kill next. Get that Ring of Vigor on. Berserk. Make sure the Blood Nihil is on Commander Zilyana. Switch over to your Ring of Death whenever you get the opportunity to. And then just use that ability rotation that I specified before. And that will do you pretty well most of the time. Okay? And then next up, we're going to do our, we're going to do a normal kill. By the way, really important for you to try to get to Master Sacrifice. Alright? That's one really good way of healing. And I highly recommend you learn it quite well. Learn how to use the timing so that it's the last kill, or the last hit. Alright, so Destroy. Make sure the Blood Nihil is on her. Decimate. Assault. Sever. Slaughter and Walk. Blood Tendrils. Dismember. Decimate. Slice. Destroy. Or you could use Havoc there, my bad, instead of Slice like I did. And then at the end of the Destroy, if that doesn't kill her, I like to use Decimate. Alright, and that's it. Those are your 3 basic kills. I haven't been deploying Dreadneps because I didn't do that during the actual week, but I will, I recommend that you bring them because they do some amount of damage that makes them actually worth it. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it. You can get 60, or you can get nearly 70 kills an hour once you master those ability rotations that I said. You should be getting, I believe, you should be getting sub 20 seconds to around 20 seconds on your Berserk kills. And then on your non-Berserk kills, you should be like averaging around 23 seconds once you get used to it. And I don't think I did all that well this time. As you can see, I had like a 30-second here. 20-second for that Berserk kill. So yeah, I wasn't doing so great, but generally all of your kills should be sub 30, and then your Berserk kills should be sub 20 most of the time. Alright? And that's the general rule of thumb. The Supreme Invigorate aura is great stuff. When you have the Supreme Invigorate aura, it's the same rotation for your Berserk, except you're probably not going to get that last Decimate off because you're already going to be 50% adrenaline. Perfectly fine. Just go with Assault as soon as possible, and then use your Decimate afterwards, and get to that threshold. Destroy. Use it if need be. All right. So that's the gist of it. That's the ability rotations I use. This is the gear I use. Make sure you remember to deactivate the Scrimshaw when you're no longer in the room, because I've actually let it run at times when I was like AFK after a kill or something. And yeah, that's mostly it. You're going to use about 7% on your Malevolent each trip, so plan accordingly. I'll probably put an annotation in the beginning of the video that also states that, just so that you know that during the gearing up process. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you guys next time.